Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have some pretty big news to go and cover over here when it comes to the PlayStation VR2. Now, you guys may have heard some pretty negative things with it so far, even from my own channel. And we're actually seeing some really big updates and changes that actually might go and completely change and shift the narrative of why the PlayStation VR2 might be worth buying. Now, we have covered this up pretty decently in the channel, where the PlayStation VR2 has been very undersold, under kind of somewhat promised. Like, we haven't seen as many major games as we would like, and as well, just a lot of people aren't necessarily 100% vibing it. And I think it's like, it seems cool. I think the idea is cool, but it's also very hard to justify spending so much extra additional money when it comes to buying something that's a complete 100% add-on to the console itself. The PlayStation 5 is like $500, PlayStation VR like $500. But we have something that's actually going on right this second. This is not like a sponsored post or whatever, but right now, the PlayStation VR2s are actually way cheaper. On top of that, we're now expecting a major big update in the PlayStation VR. So it's a bit of a longer intro, but follow Twitter, follow Twitch. I'm excited for the PlayStation event going on today. We'll see if this actually gets announced at the PlayStation event, and let's go dive on in. So as I kind of mentioned, we first have a pretty big sale going on. If you guys want to look at the PlayStation VR2 at pretty much any spot, I might even throw an Amazon link down below. It's way cheaper. We have the PlayStation VR2. It's on Amazon, Best Buy, Target, but mainly also the Sony Direct. And right now, this is a big sale. They're on like the big PlayStation like special like game day. They're trying to celebrate like their fun little company. It's a good vibe. They also have like once again the state of play later on today, and it's very intriguing to see because we know as of right this second, the PlayStation VR2 flopped. They literally just shut down the PlayStation London as well, which was also building VR games. So, oof. So there's a very big high-level thing, I think, for PlayStation. So I'm going to try to explain to you guys, and I want to hear your thoughts on it, too. This is me kind of just being the rambling madman I am. So PlayStation has had horrible sales on the PlayStation VR2. Why? Mainly because the PlayStation VR2 is not playable on PC. And the most recent update's probably going to go fix that. So what it is that the PlayStation is trying to go and add this brand new technology to the PlayStation VR2 to make it available for a PC adapter. Now, why is this a big deal? Why is this cool? VR is still niche. Like, there's a few companies out there, like, say, Meta, etc., Vive, that have been making these headsets. But the big issue is most people go with Meta, Facebook, and other companies and places can still have a good product, but they may not have the market share or the games or the user base or whatever to go justify it. But when the PlayStation VR2 came out, one of the biggest and best critiques for the entire thing is that it is a very good, well-made, well-priced equipment. But the one big caveat for was always that you had to have a PlayStation 5, and it was only for PlayStation 5 games. And you also had to rebuy games from PlayStation VR 1, which I still thought was stupid. But if you can actually have this adaptable for, say, your Steam, which we've also now been seeing PlayStation putting more games on Steam, so they're a little bit maybe more okay with it, especially if they can basically try to revitalize the PlayStation VR 2, which with the technology is cool. But the actual console itself, like the actual hardware itself, very expensive and very niche. Now, I myself am a big PlayStation guy, and even I was like, I will never buy this, because you can get maybe like 4 VR games, and then what's next? And we haven't been seeing a lot of big VR news, although there should be some VR news at the State of Play, so maybe we'll find some cool stuff. But we haven't seen anything like groundbreaking that makes everyone on the entire planet want to get it, because there's nothing there. Like, Nintendo sometimes has done that, where everyone's like, I just want to check out the Wii just to see what it is. Like, people are curious. The PlayStation VR 2 is just literally the PlayStation VR 2. And that may work for, say, consoles because it's a lot more supportive. They spend a lot more money. But if you want to spend the same exact amount of money for a fun side piece, the VR2, it has to be really good or make people want to sell it. So this is opening up at least PlayStation to a brand new demographic, because Sony has submitted a PlayStation VR2 PC adapter for certification in South Korea as it looks to bring its virtual reality headset to brand new platforms, aka applied to PC. Once again, this is big. So spotted by X and Twitter user Brad Lynch, a filing on the South Korean National Radio Research Agency, or website plainly lists, the PlayStation VR2 PC adapter. So once again, this is like the biggest change up that would actually make the PlayStation VR big. A lot of you guys also have PCs too as well. I would be more tempted to buy it now too. However, it may have found its solution to do so. We're pleased to share that we are currently testing the ability for PlayStation VR2 players to access additional games on PC to offer even more game variety in addition to the PlayStation VR2 titles available through PlayStation 5. Sony said in February of 2024. We hope to make this support available in 2024, so stay tuned for more updates. This is the more update. this is what we've been waiting for. This is what PlayStation's been trying to go and file to make sure it's all good. So you can see from the tweet over here from Brad Lynch, Sony is certifying an adapter to allow the PSVR2 hardware to work on PC. What they get is from Korea is that basically I do believe Korean technology, we saw this with the Xbox, is basically meant to list and mandate what they're adding and who the manufacturer is, while they're importing it, like all of that type of stuff. So what happens is that Sony had to go do the legal documentation where they have the Sony Interactive Entertainment Korea Co. for the device name, which kind of speaks for itself, the PlayStation VR2 PC adapter, with the model name of CFI, whatever, and then also the manufacturer, Sony Interactive Entertainment, with a cert date of 03/27, which obviously takes a little bit of time for things like a cycle or people to find it or whatever. So anyway, right this second, it seems like this is going to be one of the biggest PlayStation VR updates that actually might make it worthwhile. And this is going to be good, because as I was talking at the start of the video, the PlayStation VR is struggling. They have like warehouses of unsold items. It sold horribly. Even the first few weeks, a lot of people are like, I don't really want to buy it. Even people in the YouTube comments or Twitter comments or even my Twitch stream comments are like, well, it's okay. I'm probably not going to buy it, though. It's cool. I like the idea. Or they didn't like the PSVR1 for whatever reason. So they've been sitting on stock. But right now, at least they are selling it cheaper. Like, once again, if the Amazon links works, I'll have that down below for the PlayStation VR2. Because I'm a little bit tempted to get one myself. If you could have it working on PC, even with all this extra stock, it will help Sony clear out the stock and maybe even start production of them again, which will be good. Like if they're selling off the shelves or people actually care, even though VR is a little bit more niche. It really is, if you think about it, just really is. But if they find the niche people who like VR, there is a big enough market, a few million people. Like those rich IT people, I don't know, maybe one of you guys out here have like just real like VR. Like I get it, I totally get it. Like I like my VR, I have a Vive. I've been doing like VR chat on occasion, it's like fun. But they need to do something with these headsets. And this is probably the biggest stuff they can have, because PC people are more of where the VR is at. I have VR, so I played Beat Saber. You know, I've heard about really fun games out here too. And like people want to play stuff. People want to make new games. So if you're PlayStation and you want to have to justify selling games, and that's I think the hardest step, is if you don't have the install base. Like you have to have the PlayStation 5 users with the console and then have the next secondary people with enough disposable income to spend another $500 to go get a PlayStation VR on top of games. So that's a kind of a small subsection. And then you also have to spend millions upon Sorry, random cut. And then you had to go and spend millions upon millions of dollars just to go make the games. And if you want to be able to go and expand out that market, you have to be able to go and have people that are able to buy the PlayStation VR, and as well as also people want to go buy the games. So how do you expand that out? Once again, you added to PC, and PC users would probably actually be clamoring to have a chance to check out some of these cool PlayStation exclusives if they were also added to Steam. And I think if, in all honesty, if you could actually make it where people just purely plug this on in with no PlayStation 5 console, they will get a lot of sales. Like I think the PlayStation 5 lock-in is actually a really bad call. I think you should always try to make it a separate hardware that could work on both. So then if you have the normal people who may someone even just really likes VR, like I know some people who have no PlayStation but do have a PC. And a lot of people have PCs nowadays too. So it just opens it up to a lot of PC users. So instead of those few, like maybe million or so users, which once again is really hard to sell a game to, you then also open up to all the millions of VR users when it comes to PC. So I think this is at least smart. Like I'm not sure this will be announced as of today on the State of Play, but it makes sense. You have all this leftover units, as I've been talking about. They're not selling, so you do a big price drop, and you try to go and expand out the market. So anyone who's maybe on PC, maybe even had heard and saw bad PR, or maybe looked into it, or maybe they've never even heard about it because there hasn't been a big enough major game, like say like the Valve, Half-Life 3, Elixir, to like kind of go and sell it. So maybe at this point, this is like a double, maybe perfect storm. They announce it, they talk about it, they try to go let people know that this is coming in the very near future, sell out as much stock as they possibly can, and see if they can try to go and save it. Because it would also maybe justify them recovering some of the losses they've spent on making the PlayStation VR 2 and spending time like recording stuff and making stuff, but as well also just makes sense. Like a lot of this makes sense, and a lot of people were upset about this at the start of why it wasn't released on PC, and I think Sony is finally realizing that PC users is where you have to appeal to, because that's where the future is going, and a lot of people are there. So I would have probably been more likely to want to buy the PlayStation VR 2 if it would have started off on PC and PlayStation. So does this go and sway your opinion? Do you want to maybe go get one now? Do you still think it's a flop? Do you need more games? I don't know. But if I ever do want to get a brand new VR headset, I am going to maybe lean towards this. So give me your thoughts and comments, anything down below. We'll see if they also talk about this more throughout today's State of Play. So make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on. We do have the Twitter and Twitch room down below. I appreciate you guys all very much for watching in the first place.